In episode 765 of the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, we are joined in the virtual studio by financial strategist Shan-Nel D. Simmons, no stranger to the show, no stranger to our platform at all. And today's topic is from reactive to proactive, using your data to make empowered executive decisions. Yeah, we're going to get all into it here on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Don't you move. We'll be right back after this quick intro.
Whoa. Why y'all so happy?
You don't know? Sharvette Mitchell is on the radio.
It's time to get motivated, excited, and influenced. Why? It's the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, live from Richmond, Virginia. And now, here to motivate, excite, and influence you, Sharvette Mitchell.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, broadcasting live from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia, but heard and seen all across the World Wide Web. Shout out to those that are live. Listen, hey, we see you, Roberto, coming on in from New York. Welcome to the virtual studio. We are so appreciative to those of you that check us out in our podcast format. So shout out to Apple Podcasts and to Spotify, and some of you might be even watching or listening, I should say, from Amazon Music. We're glad to have you. Some of you are like, Sharvette, I just go over to sharvette.com because that's like the easiest way for me to catch up and to listen and or to watch the show. So we appreciate you. And if you're over on YouTube, welcome to our YouTube subscribers. Make sure you hit subscribe. If you have not subscribed, make sure you hit subscribe because I know you like this content, and we want to make sure that you are up to date on all of the content that we are putting out. And shout out to those of you who like cast us on your TV, so you're actually watching this on YouTube, like on your TV. Totally cool. We are so grateful to have you, and certainly Facebook, LinkedIn, and all of the places. Welcome, and Instagram as well. Checking us out here. So the goal of the show is to motivate, excite, and influence, and we're going to do just that today with my guest, who's here again, back by popular demand, no stranger to the show. Shan-Nel D. Simmons empowers families, nonprofits, and executive leaders to achieve financial clarity and growth. Listen, a former IRS agent turned financial strategist and entrepreneur, Shan-Nel D. Simmons specializes in tax representation, streamlined accounting, and wealth building solutions. She's helping clients overcome obstacles and create systems that align with their goals and their values. I could add on that she's a speaker. I could add on that she is an author. And so we're excited to bring Shan-Nel D. Simmons to the virtual studio. So get your round of applause together. Listen, get it together. She's coming on live. Welcome here on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Hey, Shan-Nel.
Hi.
We're super excited to have you to talk about this sexy topic about money, right? About money. And so, a lot of times people kind of fear the conversation around money and having it. But I think, you know what, we need to jump right on in, because I'd love for you to share your unique journey of how your career as a former IRS agent shaped the current work that you're doing and the work that you have been doing.
Well, we got to go a little further back than that.
All right.
Yeah, we got to go a little smidgen further back than that. It actually started, shout out to all of my retail folks. There are great lessons that are learned when you are on the floor and you're face to face with folks and working in the retail as well as hospitality space. Started cashier, night audit manager, accounts receivable, hotels and such. Then became a corporate accountant and working in corporate headquarters for some of the regional businesses, and having that different perspective working in the C-suites. And then went on to the IRS and working governmental and working with all the different businesses there, from the regular everyday person all the way to people who have, international conglomerates, seriously, where they just have different tiered partnerships and LLCs and S Corps, et cetera, and working those cases and doing audits on them. And then working into my own business, where now, I get to work with all the different kinds of individuals. So having it from a true 360, and of course, I myself, taxpayer, and have my own finances as well. and then working with nonprofits and such more so now than ever before. So just having such a exposure to money in all different regards, how it all relates, how it differs between different industries, and it's been great. And that's
It's
been
been great. Listen, I love that. I love that. And so you certainly here on episode 765, we're talking about being reactive, going from reactive to proactive, using your data to, make empowered executive decisions. Welcome to those that are coming on in. And so what does it mean for, in particular, executive leaders to go from reactive to proactive, as they're, making financial decisions?
So reactive is literally when you are operating first and foremost from a place of fear.
Yeah.
You are operating from when it has already happened. So I tell people a lot of times, if we are talking about something that happened in December now, your options are far and few. If we were talking about something that's going to happen in, let's say, January of next year. Now, now we're ahead of the game. You have, all kinds of different strategies that's available to you. But when it's something that has already happened, a lot of the times your decisions are going to be emotionally based because, again, it's already happened. There's pretty much not more we can do already. And you're just coming from now, I have what I have, and you feel some kind of way about that. Whereas when you are being proactive, typically at that point, you do have what's your current data, but then you also have your hope and your aspirations and your dreams and goals. So you're a little more optimistic versus coming from a place of fear and panic or maybe even chaos and when you're being reactive.
Ooh, that's good right there. And that's good for more than just this money conversation that's going on. And so, many, Shan-Nel, many business owners, leaders in general avoid their data. They avoid it. Why do you think that, why do you think that is so, that people avoid looking at the data?
Because numbers are honest.
Oh,
Numbers are very honest. I can't change if it says 5,000, it's 5,000, right? I can't I can't change
honest.
I can't change what's there.
Yeah.
So many a times what a lot of people get afraid of is the fact that what you may have been you didn't want to come to terms with is staring you in your face. And you have to accept what is. And that's okay. So that's the other part of it. A lot of times people think that by looking at what is, that limits them, but it really doesn't. It frees you because a lot of times in your brain is going to start imagining, literally, even the best of people. Someone who is a millionaire sometimes will imagine that they're actually broke until they look at their numbers again and remind themselves, oh, you do have money coming from other places. You're
Yeah.
fine, right? Seriously, your brain is an amazing creature in that it has ways of playing tricks on you. So when you have your numbers facing you, you're faced with the truth, the hard truth, but you're also faced with a healing truth, and that grounds you back to what is your reality, what is your base one, and then you can go from there. So I think the reason why a lot of people are afraid of that is because first and foremost, they're afraid of actually having to face what truly is. They want to sometimes live in the possibilities and what can be, and that's great, but we do have to face what we're currently working with and then work with where we need to go.
Well said. Well said. Work with where we need to go, and definitely money is honest. The numbers are honest. And so, what type of data should executives and nonprofit leaders, be reviewing regularly to help them make empowered decisions?
So the word on the street, a lot of people here on the internet streets are cash flow, right? A lot of times people hear the cash flow, and so cash flow is more than, I'm going to just go over a little bit. Cash flow is more than just your checking account balance or your credit availability. It's also what is earmarked to be paid.
Yeah.
And it's also money that for certain is coming in. So when you add those two, like all those elements in, now you're operating more honestly and what you will have left. So that's in a very simple way. what your
Uh-huh.
cash flow is. But the other data that you should also be looking at a lot of times is your capacity. You should be looking at what you're able to do a lot. And I'm going to really speak to that right now, because I know
Yeah.
for a lot of folks right now, sometimes we're very reactive because maybe cash flow. We will take on jobs and such because we're like, look, I got to pay these bills. I get that.
Yeah.
Right. But then you also have to be honest with yourself and say, are you capable of delivering? And it's
Mm.
okay sometimes to have to say, you know what, to operate in integrity and for what's best for, not only my team and myself, but also for your customers' experience, because there is money in the repeat, right?
Absolutely.
so,
Absolutely.
so therefore, give the customers that you currently have, try to give them the best service that you possibly can give, and try
Yeah.
to see where you are right now. Sometimes you can't maybe offer that new offer right now because you
Uh-huh.
have, a backlog that needs to be cleared out first.
Yeah, yeah. And
So,
I'm always about like provide good customer service. I know I talk a lot
yeah,
about marketing and branding. Welcome to all those that are popping on in. I talk about marketing and branding and speaking and all of that. However, all of that is to draw attention to a great product and service with great timelines, turnaround times, responsiveness. My assumption that like you've got that nailed. And so you don't have that nailed, then that's the priority to go work back on. I
absolutely.
want to capture this comment from Lisa Shaw. Hey, Lisa, over on Instagram, she said, "Numbers tell the deal, the real deal. It's necessary." I
It
like how you
is.
said that. I like how
It
you said that.
absolutely is.
Yeah,
And then,
yeah,
in addition to not only just your capacity, not only just your cash flow, you also want to make sure that you're just operating and setting your true goals, and
hmm
operating in integrity for what they may be, and actually having a goal. I think sometimes, a lot of times, people are just like, I just want to be rich, or I just want to
uh-huh.
be well off, or I want this number, but they don't have like maybe a real set goal that's like that they can immediately win. So I would
Yeah,
say set yourself up for a win, and whatever that
absolutely.
looks like, and your data can help you with that. So let's say that you know that you only have 10 clients. Maybe the goal for this month is to get 5 more,
Uh-huh.
or for the quarter, depending upon how it works for you.
Yeah,
For my nonprofits, that maybe you were only able to serve maybe 100 dinners this month. Maybe the goal is to try to get to 150 or 200. You
yeah,
know, so set a goal for yourself too. So it's not
yeah.
always just about what's going in; it's also making sure that you're operating in integrity to set yourself up for a win, because that's going to continue to motivate you to want to continue to do the work, and then also want to motivate you to continue to make the money for my entrepreneurs, and to continue to seek out those donations. And for my nonprofits, when people see the impact that you're making, and they
Yeah.
see that you're constantly increasing that impact, people will give more.
All right, we'll give more. And I think the conversation around money, I'm glad you said, have a goal, think about where it is that you want to be, because money is very relative. And
Mhm.
so one person saying I want to be rich, that is one number. Another person saying I want to be well off can be a completely different number.
Yes.
This is going to go a different direction than I had planned, but you just made me think of something, because over on TikTok, shout out to the TikTokers. There's a young lady who's paid $10,000 for a dating coach. I don't know if you're hanging out over TikTok, but those that are on TikTok, let me know if y'all seen this. So she paid $10,000 for a dating coach. She is now engaged and going to be married, and she's kind of sharing her process. Well, there's one whole set of people who are like $10,000 oh my God, and just like freaking out. And other people are like, you know what, if that was a goal, that's what she wanted to put towards it, that's fine. And so I think that it's just a great conversation around money, and just different, numbers are so relative. And that's why you got to
Absolutely.
have some goals for you, because you got to define what it means for you.
Absolutely. So that $10,000 for that person, think about it. They could be viewing the dating scene as their investment for lifelong love. So
Uh-huh.
that 10 grand over a lifetime could ultimately end up being $10. Like if we're gonna make it math, because I'm a numbers girl.
Right.
so for some of my folks who are like, that's outlandish. For the
Right.
people who truly understand like investments and return on investments, how much are you willing to pay for lifelong love?
All
So
right.
you gotta start looking at things like that. And then when you really set things up in your life for, I'm looking to have peace in my life. Well, how much are you willing to pay for your peace? How much are you willing to pay for your happiness? How much are you willing to pay to have the best day literally of your life, whatever that looks like?
Yeah.
And some people are willing to pay millions for that. So be it.
Ooh,
If you got it.
If you got it, there you go. There you go. All right. So, and this actually probably is kind of going back on track. But actually, I think we were right. We didn't really actually veer that far off, because I'd love for you to share like an example of where financial data helped a client like make a big shift, in their life.
Yeah. So basically, I have someone who, we walked through everything, we looked at everything, and they realized that their focus really didn't need to be on the money per se. They needed to focus more on, if they focus more on acquisition and in the sense of getting contracts and getting clients, the money would come. Because they priced themselves at a way where every time they were bringing in a client, that was, a 5-figure deal.
Yeah.
So therefore, it was very much so, versus chasing the money and saying, "Oh, we need to get more money." It was very much so, well, if we just continue to figure out bringing in our client, then, we're realizing for this one, every time we bring in the client, it causes us to be able to have more profit, which allows us to then get more employees. So therefore increasing their capacity. And then therefore, we can keep scaling and expanding. So they shift their goal from versus these money benchmarks to, we need to now figure out how do we acquire so many more clients. It helped them change their messaging, their language, and everything. And because they had to shift their brain, because up until that point they were thinking, we need to make sure we have this much money per quarter, and that's okay. So I don't want anyone to say you don't have this much money per quarter. You should, definitely know what amount you need to cover like your bills and profit and all that stuff. That it all comes together. Trust me.
Right.
But as far as what was going to drive them to continue to bring in revenue and made them feel more at ease to seek it and didn't seem so overwhelming and brought more peace and calm to the process, they started focusing on the client acquisition. And once they did that, they started hitting their revenue goals a lot easier and faster than focusing partly on the number of the money and the revenue itself.
That's good. That's good. And that to me, I think sounds like a great example of proactive versus reactive. And so you've certainly mentioned nonprofits a few times. I know that's like a specialty lane for you. And so, for leaders that are managing and growing and building nonprofits, what's one major financial mistake that you often see? Certainly not within your client base.
Well, where a lot of people grow from is that too often, there's two actually I see. One is just sticking to what they know and just constantly staying on that will and being frustrated when they're like, we're not getting, our fundraising goals, we're not hitting that. But it's like, but you're sticking to what you know. Maybe the method works, but maybe you need to expand it to a different area and get some other people involved. So that's one. So just sticking to tried and true. And then the biggest one, and I think a lot of nonprofits, especially in the United States right now, are feeling this one, is not diversifying where their funding is coming from. And there's, sticking to one source or two sources, whatever that is. And depending, and they're having their entire nonprofit organization depending upon that being the major or only source of funding coming in. So when that goes away, and this is good information for honestly anybody. You cannot rely on one. This goes back to a lot of times people talk about that conversation of 7 streams of income. I tell folks all the time, a lot of you do have multiple streams of income. You just don't know it. If you're working more than one job, you have multiple streams of income. All your income's coming from working, but you have multiple streams, because if one job went away, you had that other job to help you out.
Yeah.
Places need to start making sure that they're getting their funding from more than one spot. So if you're only depending upon, governmental grants, you need to start focusing on fundraising. You need to start focusing on, membership and getting like monthly payments in, or just one-time donations. A lot of times those grassroots efforts are going to be really what sustain you when you're waiting for the whale. Those little, the fish transactions are what's going to keep you okay on a day-to-day basis while you're hunting down the whale.
That's good. That's a great analogy right there. And I think this is a great space to take a quick commercial break. We're going to let you relax in the virtual green room. And we're going to bring Shan-Nel D Simmons back up. But we are going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. Don't you move. I am Sharvette Mitchell, CEO of Mitchell Productions, the producer and host of the Platform Builder Summit. We are here in beautiful Richmond, Virginia, with 115 amazing women, professional service providers. We have therapists, we have accountants, we have realtors in this space, and we're excited about all of the amazing transformations that their businesses and their brands will continue to have.
I was drawn to this conference because of all the beautiful things I heard about the conference. This is my first experience, so I've only heard great things about the empowering women that shared their stories and the things that people take it away from it, and I wanted that experience.
One of the things that I've enjoyed the most about just meeting other women and interacting with other women is the fact that we all realize that we can work together and we can partner together. I don't know how you can come to a Sharvette event and not leave more confident in your skill set and in your gifting, and that's absolutely what I feel today, having just been in the room for the past couple days.
Anything and everything you could think of in regards to business has been discussed, from marketing to finance to planning to strategy to platform building. It's so many amazing nuggets that I can take back and actually implement and grow my business.
This is my second time coming to one of these conferences, and I'm telling you, every time I just get more fired up about what it is, what my why is.
This is going to energize me for the rest of the year and into 2024. So grateful.
Are you a veteran, service member, or family member struggling with loss? Forever Healed offers free grief and wellness group sessions just for you every Thursday at 7 p.m. from May 1st until June 19th. Join Forever Healed, where trained grief specialists guide you through managing loss, from injuries and career changes to personal struggles. These free group sessions provide a safe space and the chance to move beyond pain. Register today at foreverhealed.com and take the first step towards healing.
All right, there you have it. There you have it. Our announcements there. Let's jump right back on in. Announcements, like I said, for church, right? Commercials. Episode 765, from reactive to proactive, using your data to make empowered decisions and empowered executive decisions. Let's bring our guests back up to the stage. Yes, there we go. Shan-Nel D Simmons. All right. So let's jump back in and shout out, because Shan-Nel has graced our stage as a speaker at past events. So woohoo for that. And so tools or systems that you recommend for streamlining accounting and financial reporting.
So honestly, in all honesty, it's really what's going to work best for you. I will say the higher up you go, you really need to start looking to probably hire someone. And I know that may sound like a conflict of interest for some of you. Like, of course you're going to say that, but seriously, and the reason why I'm going to say that is because as an executive, as a leader, you are going to want to free yourself up to be able to make decisions based off of the numbers, not actually putting in those transactions and managing the numbers. You may end up having more transactions the higher you go up. Typically, the more revenue you make, the more complicated your overall financial story and makeup will be. Once you start bringing in employees and more contractors and just additional help, it's just going to become a little more overwhelming and probably beyond your capacity. So I would say, when you are ready, you need to start looking to hire someone else to assist you. And you can start small. You can start off with just a part-time bookkeeper and then work your way up from there and building out a team. And then eventually having someone like myself who comes in and help you analyze those numbers and make more sense of them and help you paint your story.
Wonderful. How can they connect with you and contact you about that?
So you can go to NellTaxandFinancialSolutions.com, and you can go ahead and just, put in an inquiry for right now, and I would connect back with you and we can talk about what will work best for you at that time.
Wonderful. And if you are listening to the podcast, look down below in the show notes. Look down below in the show notes. If you're over on YouTube, this link is in the show notes there. And certainly if you're at Sharvette.com, this link is in the show notes there. And how can people follow you on Facebook and Instagram?
Go to at NTFS Global. And it's also YouTube as well. Same at NTFS Global.
All right. There you have it. There you have it. And so, certainly, some people may be listening and like, okay, I feel like I'm getting more, I want to be more proactive, and less reactive. And I want to look at my data. What's one simple, but powerful step you would tell all listeners and viewers, to take today, that would help them become more financially empowered?
I would say first and foremost, really look at not only what's coming in. We're really good about looking at what's coming in, but look at what's going out.
That part.
And the reason why I will emphasize that, sometimes your net profit and you expanding upon having more wealth may come from you eliminating some things or renegotiating some of the things that you are spending upon, or consolidating, because some of us have subscriptions and that you got two things that are probably doing the same thing. You could probably get rid of one.
Yes. And here's the thing, Shan-Nel, that's so legitimate. I have a live example of that, because companies are always evolving, updating their services. So I was paying for, now I know this is going to sound like somebody's probably saying, who's using the fax, fax machine? Listen, if you're trying to do government contract,
yes,
number. I never got a fax from, but they want a fax number. So I was paying for a fax service. Then I have a phone service. That's a soft phone, they call it. So you basically through your computer. So that came with a phone. And then when I went and looked, I was like, wait, it includes the phone. It includes fax. It includes text. It includes all this stuff. So here I'm paying two separate things. So then I was able to cancel the separate, just standalone fax. So some of it is like going back and looking at what you have and seeing what it's doing. And it might have changed, that it might be doing more.
Absolutely. And I would say for those of you out there who, have really good relationships with your vendors, and let's say you have increased your volume with them, you need to start having a conversation about discounts. If you guys have a really good relationship and, you're constantly, purchasing more and more and more, one way to be proactive is say, hey, that I'm going to order X amount each month, each week, whatever. And I only foresee us doing more business with you in the future. What discounts can you offer me? So it's definitely about looking at not only what's coming in, but also what's going out. And that will help you increase your margin.
All right. There you go. There you go. One more time. How can they connect with you and find out how they can work with you?
Yes. Go to NellTaxandFinancialSolutions.com. And like I said, just put in an inquiry and we will follow up with you.
Wonderful, wonderful. And again, these links are in the show notes below. So there you have it. There you have it. Well, Shan-Nel, our time has flown by. Thank you so much for always stopping by the show and just being amazing businesswoman, mastermind client, all the things. We are so excited that we continue to see you on this amazing journey.
I love being here. I do. I appreciate all of you out there. I want to just say for you all, for 2025, for those of you right now who are just trying to figure it out, just stay encouraged. Money, very much so. There's a reason why it's called currency. It operates like water. It goes up, it goes down. So we're going to ride this wave for what it is for right now, for those of you right now who might be feeling it, and know that, it will get better. It always gets better. The tide always turns.
Always turns. It's a law of the atmosphere. It's got to always turn. All right. Thank you, Shan-Nel. Thanks for stopping by the show.
Wow.
Woo! It is a wrap for today. Again, if you're like, oh, I came in, I missed part of it, no problem. The easiest way to check out the full episode is Sharvette.com, which is our main website that has a beautiful picture of each of our guests, their full bio, links to connect with them. And then you can see the video of the show and also link to the podcast. And if you are listening to the podcast, go ahead and subscribe. What you doing? Go ahead and subscribe so we can send you notifications when new podcast episodes, full episodes and bonus episodes are dropped. And then certainly if you're over on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe on YouTube. As a matter of fact, if you're listening from Facebook, anywhere in Facebook, definitely go ahead and subscribe. YouTube.com/Sharvette. That's just my name. Or you could just put in Sharvette. It'll take you right to my channel and subscribe, because on Facebook, live streams disappear after 30 days. And so to be able to go back and check out this great content, just be subscribed to our YouTube channel. So hit the subscribe button. All right, it's a wrap. Thank you all for being here today. And listen, we're just going to keep it moving here. We look forward to seeing you at the Platform Builders Summit. You heard about it during our commercial break, November 7th and 8th in Richmond, Virginia. Who is it for? It's for women entrepreneurs. Guys, sorry, we got to do something different for y'all. Women entrepreneurs who are looking to position their expertise, like shine a light on their expertise, get more visible, and make more money. That's going to be like, if I give you the short story, that's the short story. So platformbuildersummit.com is where you want to go for that. All right, it's a wrap. We'll see you all later. Bye.
Live from Richmond, Virginia, you've been listening to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Get Sharvette Mitchell every Tuesday at 6 p.m., interviewing all the stars you want to hear from. So until next week, stay motivated, excited, and influenced. This is the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show.